Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to get Instagram on. Welcome to our Natural Health News live show. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Gallagher, and I am honored to be a part of your morning program. Today, we're going to talk about COVID surge news. We've got some worldwide news. We've got a lot of specific news in multiple states. And I have important news about your T cells and their role with COVID. There's a lot of new data. I'm going to share some reports with you about that. First, I want to share with you some free stuff. We love free stuff. So I want to reference my antiviral checklist down below. And also there is a docu-series kicking off tonight. So it's a 9-part. Every day there's a series, a segment, episode emailed to you. That is also about food and cancer and your immune system. Most importantly, there's a free ebook. So I have a link down below. Grab that free ebook. You have to sign up for the series and you'll get the ebook downloaded to you. And it includes a whole bunch of great news. So let me queue up. I've had some challenges with Instagram. Let me queue up Instagram right now. And then we'll dig into our news. So welcome everybody. While I'm queuing them up, comment down below for all of you on the live and the replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I actually have a state we're going to talk about that is probably going to overtake Florida as epicenter. Okay, so let me see if Instagram will connect. It's just, there's technology issues, it seems like every day. Checking connection, it's not connecting. Okay, let me go off Wi-Fi. And I see we've got Pat. Pat is our wonderful moderator. I want to thank Pat for everything she does for us here at Natural Health Resources and supporting our community. She is fantastic. And she is a voice for me while I'm presenting for all of you. While I'm chatting, she'll say there's links down below. So I really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm bringing on Instagram. Oh, good. Okay, Instagram, welcome. All right, so today we're going to talk about news, but also some of the latest information. So there's a lot of great data, lots and lots of data. This is what we're going to talk about. This is a pretty thick report. It came out early this morning about the role, the magnitude, and the dynamics, the role T cell response plays in individual and population level responses to COVID. Today's topic, if you are watching on the replay, just fast forward. There'll be notes down below where there's a timestamp where you can get the gist of what we're talking about. We're going to talk about how to bolster and boost your T cell activity. So there's 3 types of T cells. One of them is the thymus tapping I talked about yesterday. But I have about 7 or 8 ways to enhance those through food mostly. And again, if you're curious about food and as a healing resource, there's a free ebook down below. It's part of the Answer to Cancer docu-series. So click on that. I've got that link down below. It's free. Free is awesome. You know, in the world of trying to be economical, there are a lot of great resources in that. And also you can grab my free antiviral checklist. So that's down below. All right, let's dig into worldwide. We're at 18.1, almost 18.2 million cases. The U.S. is at 4.795 million cases. The U.S. is now at 157,729 fatalities. That has actually increased. Our fatality rate increased week over week by 24%. We have seen a little dip, 8.8% decrease in the test results that have come back. But some of that might be due to Florida being offline in the major epicenters in Florida because of the hurricane or the tropical storm now that's making its way up the eastern coast. And also Texas didn't report a 1 day. And I have now Texas reported, and they're averaging about 10,000 a day. So worldwide, Brazil's at 2.7 million cases. And now not only is the president a COVID victim, his wife is, and now his chief of staff has tested positive. So we're seeing that affecting all aspects of the Brazilian community. India's at 1.8 million. Russia's at 861,000. And they apparently decided that they're winning the battle of COVID. And over the weekend, they hosted a half marathon to celebrate their success. And over 16,000 people, 16,000 runners came into the Capitol and ran a half a marathon. And obviously when you're running marathons, you're not masking up. And there is a lot of exhalation with running. And you don't always get the social distancing. So they have seen, and just since the marathon over the weekend, they have seen an increase in cases. So word to the wise, don't do a marathon. And certainly they're not anywhere near kicking this, and the rates have increased. Australia, the state of Victoria, they have declared a state of emergency in Australia. And in middle of July, I said they got they employed a 6-week lockdown. They've actually extended that now. They're locking down into mid-September. Just for some perspective, they had 671 infections, 671 cases yesterday. Okay, so they have locked down for 6 weeks. Just 671. It is a lot, but in comparison to some of what we're posting statewide, it's not overwhelming. The other thing that they are employing in Australia, in Victoria particularly, they are employing a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. And only one person per household is allowed out to go shopping. So that is just an indication of what other countries are doing. And so when you look at and you hear me talking about how we're posting, 40, 60,000 cases a day, I mean, it's astronomical what we're dealing with. And the fact that we are not necessarily dealing with it in probably the most appropriate way. So, I believe we're still under some sort of emergency state, but not, a lot of states have lapsed those states of emergency, and the U.S. continues to reopen. I do want to highlight Iran has boggled their reporting of the cases. They apparently have concealed the quantity of cases that they had on all fronts. So they've underreported by a half of the positive cases. So if you look at the reporting, you just double that, and that's around where they sit with actual tests, positive tests. On the fatalities, they've underreported or they're reporting. You actually have to multiply it by 3. So there are 3 times the amount of deaths that have actually occurred from COVID, and they actually were reporting. That news just came out recently, and it's very, very significant. I do want to highlight, just globally, we are seeing that a third of the patients, COVID patients, their symptoms are not going away. And 1 in 5 patients are not returning to normal life. And so, being in a working situation and taking a few days off, or 10 days or 14 days off, and returning to work, 1 in 5 individuals are not able to do that. So it is significant. Now, just in terms of some states, I'm going to highlight a lot of what's going on in multiple states. Just kind of running down our top cases. We are seeing, Instagram. I don't know why my computer just recognized something. Okay. So in California, they have 514,000 cases. They posted just over 5,700 positive cases yesterday, 32 deaths. In Florida, their case numbers have decreased. And we believe that might be because some of the testing sites are offline, because they're actually offline until the 5th, which is, I believe it's Wednesday, tomorrow. But Florida's at 491,000. They posted just over like 47,500 cases, and they had 72 fatalities. And Texas, back online. As far as I know, the glitch has worked itself out with the system upgrade, but they posted yesterday 11,500 positive cases with 179 fatalities. There are some instances where we're seeing a little bit of a peak, maybe a little decrease. Definitely In Texas, a little bit of a decrease in the fatalities. They were at 313 a week ago. So that's a good positive sign. New York is at 416. They haven't reported any data, but I do know hospitalizations are down. In Georgia, we're at 195,000. We posted almost 22,500 cases with 2 fatalities. And Illinois posted 512 new cases. And then there are the fatalities. So I do want to highlight Florida. There are 2 fatalities of minors. There are 2 teens that passed away yesterday, a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. And in total now we have 17 minors that have died in Florida. There apparently was some discrepancy when I reported, I think in middle of July, 2 weeks ago, that Florida, they had a 30% positive percentage rate of minors or young children and kids, pediatric cases. What the Florida, the state, the governor is blaming the Department of Health because there was a computer error, and apparently the quantity of tests in total that were run for pediatric cases 18 and under were not reported. And so they were unintentionally excluding the negative cases. So with the negative cases added, the positive percentage of pediatric cases in Florida, meaning the amount of kids who are testing, how the percentage of positive coming back, it was originally at 31% with this unintentional computer error. Read that in quotes, right? So they've since added the negatives, and it still gives a positive percentage rate of 12.5%. That's not great. North Carolina is above that at 13%, but Florida is still showcasing more than double where we want to see our positive percentage rate, meaning there's still community spread with children. It's just not as bad as 30%. But they kind of reassessed how their reporting was, and that is just very telling. There may be some instances of additional unintentional computer errors. I do want to highlight in Michigan that, or not Michigan, Mississippi. Mississippi is on track right now to be the #1 epicenter. They are just below Florida in terms of the per capita positive cases. So per capita, Florida is at 43.6 new cases for every 100,000 residents. Well, Mississippi's at 42.2 new cases per every 100,000 residents. And their positive percentage rate, the positive testing percentage rate, is 17%. They are second in terms of that positive percentage rate. And I do want to highlight this. So Mississippi has 82 counties. Only 32 are requiring mask wearing. And so that might be part of the issue. I also want to highlight in New Jersey, they are now limiting indoor gatherings. They're now moving the quantity of people who are allowed indoors for any type of indoor setting down to 25%. That's a reduction, and that applies to restaurants, movie theaters, anybody who's open indoors. It does not apply for weddings, funerals, memorial services, and religious services. But I want to highlight New Jersey's made that move. Now, New York has gone even further. They've cut out all outdoor dining through next summer. So July of 2021 is when you'll expect to see outdoor dining in New York. On the front of New York, because New York is really trying, they're at this really low point, and they're very cognizant that there might be a peak or another wave, at least in the numbers in New York. And so New York is really adhering to these stringent guidelines. There was a party boat. If you've ever summered in the Northeast. One of the things that is really popular are these boats that you get on and you go out into the waters in the summertime, and like there's alcohol and sometimes there's dinner, and they call them party boats. Well, there's this party boat called the Liberty Belle, Belle. She went out with 170 individuals on this boat. Usually there are 2, sometimes 3 layers, 3 decks. And the owners were arrested because of the gross violation. This is way beyond what is required, in terms of limitations of people in any close setting. So the owners were arrested and they've shut down that operation right now. But it's just very telling of what's happening. The other thing that we are going to have to take note on in South Dakota, for any of you bikers or have family that are, Harley bikers, Sturgis, the big bike rally, is on track to start the 7th. It goes from August 7th through August 16th. And I have family members in Minnesota that is like, they live for this rally. They save up money. They do their, little bike riding tour from Minnesota to South Dakota. It's not really that far, but there are people who trek in from all over the US as well as Canada. And right now, they are still expecting to have a large quantity of people. On average, they have 250,000 people participate in this event. One of the limitations is the Canadian travel restrictions. Canadian bikers will not be crossing the border. So that is it's going to limit the size, but they're anticipating half of the average size. So they're still expecting 125,000 guests to attend this bike rally. And one of the things that is a challenge here is that 60% of the residents do not want this. But business owners are pushing for it because it's 9 days when they do all their business. So the whole entire city operates and revolves around 9 days of this bike rally because it's only a city of 7,000 individuals. So everybody is catering to, servicing the restaurants and the hotels and, everything that happens. So it's crazy. Right now, it's not being postponed. And at this point, it could very well be the biggest event worldwide ever during this pandemic. So, that's just one of those things you don't necessarily want to be